You good?
How did you guys meet?
How did we meet?
Well, I guess I was doing a job where I was doing a lot of research and development in terms of personal stuff for the shooting. The job that I was doing, I was training a lot, I was on the range a lot, and I was asked to be an instructor, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do in terms of being an instructor. So, you know, you just go and source information, you're looking for new equipment, new ideas, new drills for the range, you know, where's the best place to find that? It's open source. So you go and have a look on, there was no Instagram for me back then, there was no any of that, it was just YouTube. And I was watching everyone, all different stuff, you know, even like the old Haley Strategic stuff, you know, Chris Costa, all those OG, like fucking role model guys, you know, all the Magpul videos, just trying to, you know, freshen things up a little bit. You start getting into your kit and equipment and all the rest of it. I've just come back from America. I'm looking for red dot mounts and this and all the rest of it. A lot of the equipment is quite hard to get in the UK. All the Gucci high speed stuff, all the alley stuff. So you've kind of got to go further afield. So I'm on two strands now. So I'm on sort of training methodology and, you know, drills, et cetera, and I'm also on kit and equipment and developing what we've got now. The kit and equipment that I had for up until that point had served me well. I was always been one of those tinkerers, always messing around with something, always changing it, always looking to refine it and get an optimal solution. You know, the gun belt was where I started, so I ended up buying a bunch of gun belts. This is about 2020 times. I bought a T-Rex Arms Orion belt, I bought a Pharaoh belt, I bought Raptor tactical belts, I bought high-speed gear belts, C2R belts, I bought all kinds of belts and came across yours. That was the first real thing that I saw. I was like, oh, okay, cool, that looks good. So I'm spending all my own money at this point. Import tax, shipping fees, all that. But I was just like, I'm not gonna get it through the system because they'd be like, you've been issued a Cry belt, that's good enough. And it's great, I'm not knocking Cry at all. Fantastic company, served me well throughout my entire career and continue to do good things for the military. It's not about that, but I wanted something slightly different and all the rest of it. So I started like looking, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Then you sort of get led into this sort of like early days GBRS. Your face was still blurred out. It was, is it Freedom Range? And so it was still in that old range. It was very, you know, it was very in its raw form, its infancy. It was like there wasn't really much else around it. It's grown and become this big thing, but back then it was like super new, super raw and super fresh. And I watched you and Cole move around and I was like, yeah, they're professionals. And you didn't have to know the background or the history or the pedigree, but you can see and you can know, and just by the way that things are being explained. And you know, I watched you set up a weapon. I think that was the first like YouTube video I set up, and I was like, that dude sets his gun up like I set my gun up. It was one of those types of things. So yeah, over the next sort of year or so, I bought a bunch of stuff. I was like, yeah, this is cool. I remember the first time I ever had a correspondence with you or Cole. It was Cole first. I was getting everything sent to the camp. So the addresses, you know, if you saw it, you'd be like, I wonder where that's going, you know? But I did something stupid and now I feel it, like, and I appreciate it more. You know, I'd ordered a medium instead of a large or a large instead of a medium. It was some bullshit thing like that. So I emailed on the off chance, and within about 10 minutes, Cole gets back to me. And he's like, yeah, cool, we'll hold it, we'll resend it, don't worry about it. It was like, you know, you saw that email chain, didn't you? It's good to see guys from squadrons get out and do something slightly different. I was like, it's good. It's, you know, it's interesting and it's inspiring. It was just a thank you basically. And I thought, you know, what can I do? You know, just so that they know I'm not, you know, not pretending to be something I'm not. So I was like, I'll tell you what, I'll send a plaque. So I did. I sent a plaque over. You know, you said there was no name on it. I forget to put my name on it. Just mystery plaque. So anyway, that's sort of around sort of 2020, early 2021. And that's sort of like very infrequent, but, you know, friendly correspondence back and forth. You know, I was making sure stuff was going to arrive before deployments and all the rest of it started to happen, but it wasn't a personal friendship at all at that point. Professional respect, you know, that's what I would say it was. And a sort of a mutual respect. That's what it felt like. And I did my last deployment, and through a mutual friend, Chris Craighead, he said he'd met the boys. I think it was at SHOT Show. I think it was the SHOT Show previous. He sent me a picture because he knew that I liked the staff and all the rest of it. And he was like, yeah, this is, I think you were waiting for a flight. He sent a picture. He had a bell staff on and he sent a picture. And I was like, fuck yeah, there they are. Good for you, dude. And I went on deployment and I came back and, you know, that deployment was complicated, let's just say that. And I was pretty much ready to punch out at this point, but had no real sort of plan other than that I knew that the end was near, if you know what I mean. So I was just trying to kind of figure it out and see it. So we get invited. We get invited to go for, you're in Hereford for, you come and see the guys at Level Peaks, aren't you?
Yep.
So, you know, just by chance, you guys were visiting one of the distributors in the same small town in, you know, the UK that I live in. And I actually initially got messaged by somebody else because I think you met some guys the night before. And they were like, do you want to come and do this? And I was like, I'd like to meet them, but I don't want to meet them in that setting with a bunch of other guys from the squadron. And it kind of, that's going to feel a little bit like fanboy, if you know what I mean. I was like, I'd rather not do that, if that makes sense. Christian phoned me up the next day and was like, I'm going to go and meet the boys for a burger. Do you want to come? And I was like, yeah, that's something I can fuck with. That's like, because it's always from day one and continues to be, it's like, you're just another dude from the squadron. It was just like sitting down with two dudes from a different squadron. And I've always enjoyed that. And the conversation, you know, within the first 30 seconds was not about anything other than, you know, jumping, shooting, doing CQB. I was letting you know that I just got back from a investigation thing, and you were like, yeah, fuck dude, we've all been through that. So immediately there was that sort of, that personal connection. You're like, just as I'd expected it. I was like, we're going to connect on those levels, on that professional level. And then the personal side of it was like, yeah, these are fucking good dudes. In my mind, I was like, I hope I meet these two dudes and they're pricks because they've got everything go. Do you know what I mean? I was like, I bet you I meet these dudes. Don't ever meet these guys that you like and respect. He's going to be, and when you weren't, you were just like super humble, super down to earth, super just nice guys. Do you know what I mean? I was like, fuck, you know, it's like, you know what I mean? Not in a bad way, but I was expecting it, if you know what I mean. But it never came, and I was like, and I remember we walked around for a little bit. We took that picture. That picture's still there somewhere. Me, you, Chris, Cole, Baz, and yeah, I was gassed. I was like, yeah, these are good dudes. And you kind of said it. It was you that said it. It was like, well, listen, if you ever want to come over or hang out, please do. Like, this is the first time that I think we'd really had a full conversation. I'd been speaking to Cole a bit more at this point, but only via email or whatever. And I was like, well, that's a great opportunity, but I didn't really think seriously about it. But then a few things happened at work and all the rest of it, and I was like, do you know what? I might just hit you up. And I did. And I was like, listen, I'm thinking about coming over. And you were like, boom, here's some dates. Come on over. So I was like, why not? So booked myself a flight, hotel, hire a car, all the rest of it. And I remember I turned up in Virginia Beach, didn't know where to go. I was staying at the seafront, just booked it off booking.com. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what this looks like. I'm bringing my gun belt, and you know, that's it. If I can't just turn up with a gun belt, then you can't do it. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, well, here we go. And yeah, I spoke to you the night before I was supposed to turn up, and I was expecting to turn up like 9, 10 o'clock, walk around a little bit, you know, go and see some stuff, whatever, have a chat, maybe go to the range. It was really just like, I'm curious, like, I respect it, what's going on, you know? And you're like, cool, do you want to do fitness? And I'm like, yeah, I want to do. Cool, meet me at the office. I get there at 5. I was like, what time do you start lifting? 7. All right, cool, I'll get there at 6. You're like, turn up at about 5:30. So I turned up at 5:15, turned up, found this place. You know, I'm driving there on Google Maps. It's dark, it's winter time, there's no, you know, and I'm like, pull up outside this. It was in the old building. And I pulled up outside in my hire truck, and I'm like, fuck, is this the place? And then I see you come down the stairs. You're the only person in the office, first guy. We sat down, we had a coffee, and it was just straight away, it was just like bosh, talking about, you know, all kinds of stuff. CQB was the main effort. And it was just really nice because it was like, yeah, finally, like, am I going insane, or does anyone else see it the way that I see it? And straight away, and you know, I think you probably were in the same position. It was like, yeah, this is a good thing. It felt good, and yeah, it just kind of went from there. Really, I think we sat down and had some sushi that night, and we really got into it. I came out of that, I was like, fuck, that's a conversation I've been waiting to have for a long time with somebody. Do you know what I mean? I was like, finally, that, like, I know I'm a nerd about it and I geek out about it, but to me, it's you know, I'm very passionate about it, and to have somebody match that passion and enthusiasm, even for the small things that often get overlooked, I was like, fuck yeah. it would have been good to operate. You know what I mean? I was like, we would have fucking done some damage if we were working together for sure. And yeah, it just kind of led from there really. We went on the range and like, people say, was there an interview process? And it was like, well, apart from my weapon manipulation and my hand speed and my accuracy, no, not really. Like, you know, I was nervous. You know, that's quite a big thing to do, is to travel halfway across the world with just a gun belt and be like, right, this is what I got, this is who I am. And I could tell straight away within 5 minutes, it was like, you know, it was all right. You know, I was up to the standard. I was watching what you guys were doing, and I was like, you know, as always, like not a million miles away on the pistol. Didn't expect to be, you know, you guys have all over it and been shooting a lot. Rifle was good, and it was just a good vibe. I was like, I could fuck with this. This is good. Got the better guns here than I've got at work. Relaxed atmosphere. Dudes getting after it, trying new things. That, you know, I fired more guns in that 3-hour period, different guns that I had in an 18-year career. It was just like, try that one, try that one, try that one. For me, I'm just like, fuck yeah. What about this one? What about this one? What about this? So that was cool. You know, hang around for a few days. And you and Cole went and had a reality check conversation in the morning. I was like, listen, if you do this, things in your life will change. This is, you know, these are the things to consider. And, you know, there was the sort of the social media side of it. And, you know, it was nothing but guidance and coaching from the off. And it was like, you know, it was fairly clear, or it felt straight away that this was something that was a good thing. I think it was like mutually beneficial for everyone, and it felt right. And, you know, I was like, I don't really know what I want to do when I leave the military, because I didn't really want to leave the military, if that makes sense. But now this opportunity was there. It was like, well, fuck, dude, this is a no-brainer. You can still shoot, you can still do fitness, you're still hanging around with squadron guys. Like, it's all about kit, it's all about training, it's all about mentality. I was like, all of the stuff that I like and that's good, you can do it over here, but you don't have to put up with any of the bullshit of the big system and all the rest of it, which quite frankly I was tired of at that point, exhausted of. So I sort of go back to the UK, and then there was a couple more trips. I came out, stayed at Coles for a week or so, and then came out again, stayed with you guys, and then that was it. Yeah, you know, contract was offered at some point, and I looked at it and I was like, no brainer. Don't even need to send it to me. The answer's yes. I was like, I'm fully in. You know, by now, people will probably get the impression that once I lock onto something and want to do it, I become obsessed about it and I'll see it through to the very end. So I was like, and everyone was like crazy, like, Jay, you know, you've done 18 years here. You know, you do a couple more years, you'll get your pension, and why don't you just take a quiet job? And I was like, I don't want to fucking be that guy. You know, I know so many people that are just there waiting for a pension or whatever. I was like, no, I'm still young, I'm still current, I'm still fresh, and I'm still passionate. I'm strike while the iron's hot, and this is a perfect opportunity. You know, my life would have looked a hell of a lot different if I hadn't have come and met you for a burger that one day in Hereford. God knows where I'd be now. I might still be in and be miserable. Who knows? But I'm not, and I'm glad I took. Sometimes everyone wants to talk, you know, who dares wins, but you've got to follow that through sometimes. And in order to, you've got to be bold, and you've got to take risks. And everyone wants to be that person, but it takes a lot to actually do it, to cross the threshold and, you know, pack up your life and move to the other side of the other side of the earth. You know, leave a job that you've given your heart and soul to for a long period of time, to walk away from that willingly, having looked yourself in the mirror and been like, this is a good opportunity, this is a good future. You got to be quite brave, but I never felt like it was a risk, if that makes sense. So yeah, it kind of just went from there, and then left the military. Everything was all good, everything's lined up, we're rocking and rolling. Come stay with you. I was probably with you for what, like 10 weeks maybe? Living in the guest room, eating dinner with you, Patsy and the kids, going for walks, waking up every morning. So my transition initially was seamless. I was like, I don't know what everyone's talking about. This is fucking easy. I'm getting up early in the morning, I'm getting a cold plunge, I'm using our own gym, I'm going on the range, I'm talking about equipment, I'm training dudes. Like, this is like, finally, after all that, and all the stuff that's gone before it, I've finally managed to land on my feet. Cool, I'll see you in a couple of days, DJ. I'll be back, I've got to go back to the UK. I'll go and pick up my visa. Cole, see you in a bit, everything's good. Tiny little bag, enough clothes for a few days. I'll just leave the guest room as it is. Yeah, no problem, we'll be back in a bit. We'll get back, start looking at apartments and all the rest of it. Land in the UK, and then your whole life just gets flipped 180. I mean, we don't have to talk about that now, but there was a part of me at that point that was like, I'm on a collapsing timeline now. Like, it was clear and evident that you were genuinely willing to support me, and that you knew all about the situation from the off. Like, nothing was hidden. There was no surprises. Any surprises that we had, we shared together, because I was giving you all the information I had. So you took it on risk initially, but I don't think me or you expected when I flew back that it would be 14 months later we'd be sitting in a brick factory in the north of England having this conversation. But what has been something that's been consistent, which is important to me, and something I can trust, is the fact that I've always had your support, individually, you and Cole, but as an organisation, as a family. And you specifically have mentored me through a lot of the sort of the media side of it and how that plays out. But I've always felt like I've got somebody to, and it's a shame, and and I don't like saying this, I don't take pleasure from saying this, but I've had more support and more actual tangible support from yourself than I have from people that I've known for years that I would have expected more from. Now, I don't know what the reasons for that are. I don't care particularly, but it's good that sometimes when you're in these positions, you find out who really does show up, and it's, people say unconditional. You messaged me a few weeks ago, I don't care how long this takes. I don't care what we've got to do, what we have to move. We're not going to give up on this. And just having that reassurance has stopped me from losing my mind on multiple occasions. I've not been perfect, but it's just nice to know that you've always got somebody in that number two is always going to clear the corner, to put it in those terms. So yeah, that's kind of where we've at. And it's been weird because you're super busy, I'm busy at times. Like, it can be very sort of, we might go a couple of days or a week or 10 days without not much correspondence, but I'm seeing it all, and you're seeing it all, and it's all good. But every now and again we check in, we get a phone call, and it's like, every single time I get one of them phone calls, I'm gassed. I'm like, yeah, here we go, do you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden the time goes, and we made the decision, didn't we? It's like, we came for 3 days, then it became a week, then it became 3 weeks, then it was a month, then it was 3 months. Now it's a year. And it's like, how many more of these? Do you know what I mean? And it never felt like I'm running out of time, they're going to give up on me. And I'm grateful for that. And I'll never fucking forget that. And I mean that. Like, that's support. People use the term brotherhood quite liberally. And for what I'm saying, I've not seen too much of that, I'll be honest. And I think that gets used quite, but it feels like, it feels with you guys that, and still does, that is there. And it's given me, it's given me a new lease of life in terms of like what that means, what that whole thing means. Because yeah, without it, there's no doubt I'd be in a ditch in the Ukraine getting attacked by drones or some other lunacy, So yeah, it's helped me out massively. It's changed my life, and I'm deeply grateful for it, and I truly mean that. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see your perspective on that whole thing.
So we started GBRS in 2019, not knowing what was going to happen. As soon as we started dropping products, you could see we had this huge map, and every time we'd have a sale, we'd put a pin in it. Whole thing started to fill up, and then Europe started to catch on. And because I'm an idealist and I grew up in kind of the SF community, it meant so fucking much to me, in Cole too, when you'd get an order from the KSK, from the GSG-9, from all the way. But I remember when your order came through, and he came in, he's like, I got a fucking order from Hereford. I got goosebumps right now, don't I?
Yeah.
I stood up, I was like, you said the fucking what? He's like, we got an order from Hereford. Oh my God. Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go. And then you get orders from the unit, you get orders from the SEAL teams, from the command, and it's all starting to go, and you're like, I don't give a shit about the everyday person. I know that sounds messed up, but it's like when the end users that are your peers or the guys you've looked up to since I was knee high to a duck are buying the shit that you're making, it means more than you can ever know. So when it happened, and then a couple weeks later, the squadron plaque shows up with no name. I remember Cole saying, he's like, this is the guy from Hereford that bought all the stuff. Get that out of the back of my mind. We don't have a name associated with it. Yeah. Because I think even your email, I don't think you gave a name. You're very cryptic in the email. And
I was still not quite sure what the levels were, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you had to sift through it to understand it. And if you know, you know.
Yep.
When we went to Hereford to do all that, I think you'd just gotten off a plane when you showed up for that burger. Like, you'd only been home for a little bit.
Yeah.
And when you came up, I remember when you walked up to the table, it's like, That's exactly what I thought an SASD would look like. For sure, because it'd been a couple of years.
Yeah.
You know, we got the SBS guys coming in, but like when you rolled up, I'm like the tats, the build, the vans, I'm like, oh, bro, this is my dude right here. Okay. And as soon as you sat down, nothing else mattered.
Yeah.
Not Cole, not Christian, not anybody, not Boss, not anybody else. I was locked in on you, and I could feel the energy. I could feel the passion. As soon as we said the word CQB, I could watch the whole thing open up. I was like,
Oh. Pandora's box is open now, yeah.
oh, dude, I was like, oh, this guy's a true believer for sure. And as soon as we were doing that walk around the city, I could feel it building. You know, you talked about the incident. We've all been there before. And I remember I told you to be very careful about jumping ship early. Like, do not make a fast transition because it is harder than you think.
Yeah. I remember it.
But we have a safe haven. Like, we have a place for you to go, but you've got to make sure it's the right time. Do not rush. Do not make a rash decision because you sacrifice so much to get there. There's nothing higher. There's no other calling you're ever going to do that's going to mean more than that. And I don't want you to jump ship premature, but if you're ready, you're ready. So yeah, I mean, when you came down to Virginia Beach and we had that dinner at Mizuno's, we ate that sushi. I went back home and I told the old lady, I was like, I'm in love with that fucking dude. She's like, really? I was like, that dude should have been in the squadron with me. I was like, he is a true believer. And I was like, the conversation we just had, I've only had with 15 people in my entire existence.
Yeah.
And that dude, everything that left his mouth was the gospel that we have been preaching my entire career.
Yeah.
That dude is on the level and instant trust. I need him to be here.
Yeah.
So we started going back and forth.
Yeah, we did.
Coming to Virginia Beach, I was pushing it. Like, you have to fucking come here. Like, if you're going to get out, this is the place you need to come. And as soon as you came to Virginia Beach, like, showed up at 5:30 in the morning, got in there, got a fucking sick workout in.
Yeah.
Now we got cold plunging. Now we got in the range. As soon as you shot, it's like, oh, you're not going to be able to fake that.
Yeah, yeah.
You get a lot of guys that talk the talk. Let's see you walk the walk, and you did. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Finally, like, this
Here we
dude
go.
actually does it.
Yeah.
You get guys that talk shit like, oh, I train 5 days a week. Like, no, you don't. And when you show up and you turn up and you perform, it's like, nope, that's a true believer right there. And it meant so much. And when I saw the whole thing, you know, you getting jammed up, it really became offensive to me and Cole.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, you're about to fuck over one of the last true believers right now, and I am not going to stand for it. And best decision I ever made. And I told you that. I was like, when we talk burn the ships, I fucking truly mean it. Like, I'll set fire to this whole fucking place right now over my dead body. Like, we are not going to go out without a fight. We're going to run this thing its course.
Absolutely not.
Best decision we've ever made as a company. Best decision ever. And I told you, like, if it takes 10 years, I'll keep my foot on the gas for 10 straight years. I do not care because it's worth it.
I believe that as well.
And at the end of the day, it was. And it is.
Yeah.
We're going the entire way. And I mean, I've told you a million times, you are such a good representation of what the regiment is. It is. Like, if you could clone you and make 100, would it be better? Yes. And that's my scale. Like, that's my scale for dudes I want to surround myself. If I'd be better off if I had 5 of them, then I keep staying around.
Yeah.
If I wouldn't want to have another one, I'd dissociate. I'd back up.
Yeah.
And the moment you walked up to eating that cheeseburger, it's like, if I had 50 of him in this bar right now, we'd all be better. The whole way. Whatever it takes.
Yeah, it's humbling, man.
I mean, you were sitting at the pictures, you know, bought the Hydra mounts, they're overseas. I'm like, holy shit. I mean, you had a really good deployment.
Yeah.
You know, the jumping, all the stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we were getting after it.
Because you know the guys buy the stuff, you know they're using it, but you don't have a relationship to where you can see it. Like, he's on deployment right now. It's like, okay. I don't know, man. It meant so much to me. And I think back about that day sitting in that restaurant eating that cheeseburger. Like, I don't believe in coincidence. Not anymore.
No.
Not from the time you bought the belt, not the plaque, not the happenstance we were in Hereford with a dude you served with. Come eat a cheeseburger. Because the guys we met the night before were all from the CQB cell. Great dudes. Great dudes. And when you showed up the next day, it's like, okay, there's a reason we're in Hereford right now. And I told you, you know, my ancestry DNA is 98% from Wales. Like, I'm from here. I felt like I was home. When I went through Hereford, we walked around, dude. I had goosebumps for 3.5 hours.
Told me you loved it, yeah.
Bro, I felt like I was from here. I was like, I've been here before. It feels too natural to be here. I loved it, dude. And I'm so glad we went to course. So, best decision we ever made.
Yeah. I said this before. I said it, I think it was last night, whatever. It was like, if you could rewind back to that evening, that time, you know, the second before I took my safety catch off and made the decisions I made, if you could have laid everything out and said, these are the consequences, these are the things that are going to happen, these are the pitfalls, these are the stumbling blocks, this is how hard it's going to make your life for the next 3 years, I still would have done the same thing because it was the right thing to do. And I'm just, it's nice now that we've been vindicated. It's nice. It feels like, you know, there's a little bit of it, fuck you, I told you, but there's also a little bit of like self-satisfaction that we stayed the course, we did it in the right way, and we don't just say this shit for a fuck. If you burn the ships, you burn the ships, you burn them all. You don't leave one, you burn them all, you know, and you go the whole way. And it's just a level of, you know, it's that level of commitment that I want to be around. I want to be around people that are like that. I don't want people that are fully committed unless it's a weekend, or fully committed unless this or that, you know. So to be around that and to be involved in it is like, it's good. I think for me, it means I don't have to stop being who I am. I think a lot of people, when they transition out, they feel like they have to stop lots of parts of their character and personality or identity. I don't feel like I had to do that. I just feel like I can channel it in a way that is actually more beneficial now. Do you know what I mean? And I said that before, and I do mean that. So yeah, man, it's been a hell of a journey. It's been a hell of a wild one, unpredictable, but sometimes you just got to open the door and see what's behind it, right? You just got to get in there and make it happen. And I think that's what we've done. Yeah, I'm glad we did it, mate, for sure.
Amen.
Bright future.
Mm-hmm.